Okay, so there's another thing I've been thinking about lately, and it's the way people act when they feel inadequate. And when you get the right viewpoint on this, you won't be aggravated by people as much. Hold on. Oh my God, they're on a trampoline and the dog is under the trampoline, like biting at their feet. That's so funny. Look, my head's too big. It won't stay. No, yeah, it's staying. I have a big head. It's to hold all these brains. Anyway, so, oh yeah. Now, um, inadequacy. The feeling of inadequacy. When somebody feels like they're not enough or they're not good enough, they start doing silly shit sometimes. You'll have some people who, and it can lead to depression, and it does, because you're sitting there thinking, I'm not enough, right? Everybody's had that feeling over something in their life, and sometimes it's just like a blip in your history, and then other times it'll take over your life. And when you see it taking over the life is when you see people who either plummet and they go into a deep, severe depression, and they exhibit that depression very blatantly, and they don't do well, and don't take care of themselves, etc. And it'll be real obvious about how they're feeling. And you've got other people who feel inadequate, who will exhibit such feelings through trying to overdo it. And you've got people in that group who try to overdo it. They might seem a bit show off. They might seem a bit, ostentatious or showy, because like they're trying so hard to make up for where they think they lack. I've known men and women like this, and I think it's probably about equal in both groups. I think it's just as many men as it is women, and nobody should have to feel this way. Number one, let's get that out of the way. No one should have to feel that way. No one should have to feel inadequate, because each person on this planet has whatever their strength is, whatever their gift is, whatever their contribution is. Just because I don't know what yours is doesn't mean you don't have it. It just means I don't know what it is. And boo-hoo, I'll figure it out. That won't matter either way, whether I do or don't. But for you to figure out is the important part, obviously, because that's your gift. Now, for people who haven't gotten to that point yet, where they've figured it out, a lot of times might feel bad about themselves. And like I say, they either plummet or they'll turn around and say, oh, well, damn it, I can't figure out what I'm really good at or what I'm really here for, so God damn it, I'm going to be good at everything. And you'll see people who try to juggle all these different things, trying to be perfect at everything. Perfect at this, perfect at that. And they'll try to, when they present themselves in public or online or whatever, wherever their life is, they'll try to present themselves in such a way that they want all of y'all to be thinking to yourselves, how does that person do it? How do they do it? How do they do that? How does she do all that? And that's what that person wants. Not because that person will act like they think they're just, the hottest thing. When really, deep down, if you go down a few layers, they'll show you, who they really are, which is, I don't think I'm enough. Therefore, I've got to do all this shit to make it look like I'm more than enough. for whatever reason. And it's just something people do. And I've noticed that a lot. I've known a lot of good people who had wonderful qualities, but also had really huge ass struggles with self-hatred or feeling like they're not enough for one reason or another. And they turn around and like try to do it all. And it's like, why are you hurting yourself with that? You don't have to do that. No one's expecting you, unless your parents made you feel that way, or whoever raised you, but no one is expecting you to be a master of it all. You don't need to do that. Just figure out what you are and who you are, and do that. This other shit, that it ain't it. And there's a lot of that. So you don't have to do that. You don't have to, prove to somebody, anybody, that you can do this or that. I'm trying to say this without calling anybody out too specifically, because there's two people in my mind that I'm thinking of. Nay, actually, maybe three people I'm thinking of who have this issue. But what I want to say is, if you are feeling this way, like you're not enough, and ask yourself, don't sit there and be like, oh no, I'm fine, there's nothing wrong with me, I'm great. Well, then why are you trying to show off so much? I'm not showing off, there's always that conversation. But the real truth is, you got to ask yourself, who in your early life, and yes, it counts, who in your early life set an example that made you think you had to do what they were doing? Or who in your early life did not set an example and has you thinking that because you've turned out just damn like them, that you've got to bust your ass to prove that you're 10 times better than them? Did you ever think about that? So you could, go on. So you got to ask yourself that stuff. Who in your early life made you feel like you've got to do all this now? Regardless of the reason, whether they present themselves as competition to you, or whether they've made you think that, since you're just like them, that you've got to work that much harder to be better than them. Because there's a good ass chance it could be one of those two. There's other situations, of course, like that's obviously not all of it, but I'm just saying, think about it. Ask yourself, somebody had you convinced when you were 10 or 12 or 15 that you had to be doing what you're doing now because you're not enough in one way or another. What happened? There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. The question is not what's wrong with you. The question is, what happened to you? What happened? So that's why I don't like modern psychology and shit, because we're still using this bullshit ass system where you sit down with the therapist or whoever the fuck, and they're like, all right, do this questionnaire, let's see where you are. And you answer the questions or whatever the fuck and check the boxes. And then they say, okay, you've got such and such diagnosis. All right, well, here's a pill for this. Take that. Eat these. When really, all you have to do, not that it's not difficult, it is difficult, because you're having to dig into your own mind, and that's the scariest shit you'll ever have to do, is discover yourself. And you're going to have to dig. What you've really got to do is dig into your own mind and ask yourself the right questions, or have somebody ask you the right questions so that you can keep going deeper and deeper and be like, all right, what happened? Oh, well, so-and-so used to be this way. Okay. How'd you feel then? Well, I felt blah, blah, blah. Okay. How you feeling now? Well, I feel about the same. Well, did anyone in your life try to intervene and rectify that situation for you? No. Well, okay. It'll be something, there's a good chance it'll be something along those lines. So it's worth it to explore yourself before you let somebody convince you that you've got X, Y, and Z mental illness. You're not crazy. You just need somebody to help you figure yourself out. That's just my take. I'm very radical about that. Very. So I have my opinions, but that's just how I feel. So anyway, you're thinking that you're not good enough does not necessarily mean that you are not good enough. It just means somebody showed you that. The example was set or not set, and this is where you are now because of that. So instead of comparing yourself one way or another to that clown that taught you to think this way about yourself, to hell with that person. You know, look at yourself and ask yourself what your interests are, and you'll find your strengths through your interests. I can tell you that right now. I mean, that is a solid one. That's a solid one. In fact, I might do a separate video just on that. But like my interests are sewing, animals, arts and crafts type stuff, of course cleaning and organizing, protecting children, protecting old people. If I could do it without getting pissed off, which is impossible, but if I could do it without getting pissed off, one of my dream jobs would be to work like for the police department, investigating child abuse, kidnappings, trafficking, bad stuff like that, you know, against children, and to investigate it and pin the son of a bitch that's guilty. But the only problem is, my issue is that I can't do that kind of job because I'd be too hell-bent on tracking that person down myself and cutting their throat long before they ever make it to trial. I can't. But if I could get my mind right, I would do that kind of work. But I get too angry about the injustice. Try not to cry. I get too angry about that injustice, and like I would let it go. I would let my anger go to my head, and I'm not cool-headed enough to do that kind of work and not get myself in trouble. It's what I'm getting at. So anyway, but in another dimension where I have my shit together and I can do something like that without getting angry, that would be one of my strengths. So is to do that kind of work and be good at it without getting myself thrown into prison. But anyway, that's just me. I've never told anyone that before. I don't know. I've thought about it a million times, but I've never said that out loud. So today's a new day. But anyway, I'm seeing too much. I'm seeing too much lately with the, not feeling good enough, and so therefore I got to start doing this and doing that, just enough to get attention, but not really enough to actually better myself. And that's the other part of this. If you are really feeling like you're not good enough about something, and it's not that you're not good enough, that's not it, but that's how you're thinking. That, or if you're thinking that you ought to be doing better, or you wish you were doing better at something, you wish you could be better at something, you wish you could get back to doing something the way you used to, etc., etc. Ask yourself, what have you been using as an excuse to not do that? Everybody's got something. Everyone has something. Don't feel bad. Don't be ashamed. That's not why we're here. Just ask yourself, what have I been telling myself that's getting in my motherfucking way with doing what I want with my life? I've been telling myself, oh man, I wish I could ... but I can't because blah, blah, blah. Well, is that blah, blah, blah reason really that big? to stop you from living your motherfucking life the way you want? Is that reason really big enough to stop you? Ask yourself, because I don't know. I don't know. That's why I'm trying to get you to ask yourself. Is that a big enough reason to stop you from living the life you want? And it's yes or no. You can't pussy around. You can't pussyfoot with this. It's yes or no. Don't fuck about. Be honest with yourself. You've got to be honest with yourself. This is your damn life. It's your life. You know, get it sorted. Is it worth it? Is you living the life you want and living up to your full potential worth pushing through that boundary you've set up for yourself? So that's all I got to say about that. I just want you to think about that. Thank you for listening. Thank you for hearing me out. I hope that this brought some insight and helped you a little bit. Of course, if you have questions or whatever, please message me. Go to my website, whatever the fuck, links in the bio, all that kind of stuff. Or you can Google me. You can get on Google. I'm on like 10 different things. Miranda Wyatt Life Coach. So, just message me to hit me up wherever. And, I'd love to go deeper with you and, figure some shit out, because it can be figured out. There is a solution. So, I hope that I was able to help you and give you something to think about. And, because your life is worth it. It's worth it. And don't let anything like, brainwashing or whatever the fuck get in your way, because fuck that. To put it plainly. So, thank you. And have a good day.